A very good morning. Shall we begin the session? Today's topic is HTML, that includes in the fault tolerance what we give, what we take. So that is one of the main part of fault tolerance that is given over here. So when we talk about the fault tolerance that is given with the web system, so it says that it is robust and fully much more efficient than this is given. So it is a fault tolerant in the robust, and in the first web system at the web document, computers and the network configurations were given, but often subject to the change. So that is given. So when we talk about the HTML, it is a scripting language, that is hypertext markup language. This is used, or this is meant, that is used to contain the curricular links, whatsoever the curricular links that they have, whatsoever the data that they have, so that would be used for the curriculum that is used for the fault tolerant that led in the part of the decision to use a connectionless protocol such as HTTP, as well as the principal protocol for managing document requests. So this document request will be carried out with the HTTP, that is considered as a connectionless protocol, because as soon as the request is made and fulfilled, so connection between the client and the server is terminated. That makes, or that is used for making the connection that is broken by the server when the whole document has been transferred, has been used. And when we abort the system, when we abort the transfer by breaking out the connection before the transfer completes, in which case the server does not record any error condition. So they are not get to store the information about the request after the disconnection, and this also enables the host and the client to act more efficiently, more independently, and in more resistant to temporary network security, network outages. So whatsoever the data, whatsoever the network security that will impact the resistance, that will impact the important tool that will lead to the network outages. And the HTTP runs over the TCP/IP, that is a transmission control protocol, and the internet protocol that could run on many connection-oriented service. They can be used as a lower-level network protocol used by the internet and many company networks that enables the computer to make connection and no exchange information with one another. So that will use with the TCP, that is usually combined with the IP implementation of the OSI model. Now, what is the OSI model? That is Open System Interconnection model, that is used for the network, that is used for the network communication, that is used for the network responsibility. When we use about the HTTP, that is used with the HTTPS. Now let's start the session again. So when we talk about the HTTPS, that is a more secure, layer. The HTTP with the secure socket layer that is related to the HTTP but uses the encryption to help motivate the communications, and this is used on the internet for handling sensitive data such as the personal and the financial information. So this financial information, sensitive information that is used on the internet for handling the data such as the personal financial information, and more of the discussion will be used with the security and the encryption that is given over here. This HTTP request, this HTTP will be carried out with the SSL that is related to HTTP. Now next is the HTML. So whatsoever the browser that is used in addition to establishing the network connections and the protocol for document interchanges that needs to render the document on a display. So whatsoever the material, whatsoever the data that is used for making the connection or network connections and the protocol for document interchanges need to render the document on a display, and the TCP/IP and the HTTP does not address this at all, but they are managing, they are rendering the content that is managed by the browser, and this is where the HTML fits in. So when there is a HTTP, when there is a TCP/IP in which the HTML fits in, so that is known as the hypertext markup language, that expresses the visual formatting of the web page, and it is the HTML. Not it is a scripting language, sorry, but it is based on the HTML, standard generalized markup language, which is much broader language to the markup languages for the particular purpose. And HTML is simply one specific configuration that is used. So the configuration application will be used with a textual document. And this contains tags that defines how the text is formatting. That means we can use the attributes for making the changes. That may be a font, that may be a size, that may be a color, and so on to the display. Now next point is the tags. So tags are used to make the images to include in the display as well as to define the links to other web pages. And like the HTTP, HTML is also evolving standard managed by the World Wide Web Consortium, that is the WC Consortium, or that is a recommendation that is used with HTML 4.01, which is based on the earlier versions of 3.2, 2.0, but the latest version of the HTML is 5. But one main thing that one main notice is a language that specifies how documents should be displayed on a computer system. And there are multiple reasons, multiple problems that occurs when the web system needs to enable the users to print formatted documents. Many of the documents, especially the forms, have a strict printing requirements. Printing requirements in the sense how they, yes, interface of the HTML, we can say, right. So this raises the problems also. For example, when we say about the printing, so there are multiple drawbacks. For example, image is not available, that desktop is not used. If that web application allows the user to print forms or document in which the typesetting is important. So page breaks, font sizes, margins, and so on is additional element that will be added to the system. So this will not address printing in detail, but several attempts have been made to make the page fits attractive and little more page break support. So that the web application that needs a strict planning of capabilities that must include additional components. And the HTML also defines a set of the tags that can be used either to tell the browser how to render something or how to define a link to the other web pages. And each and every tag must be enclosed in the left angle brackets and the right angle brackets. And they are usually used in the pairs with the beginning and the ending. As I said, beginning is known as the left angle bracket and the ending is known as the right angle bracket. And for example, to make a word italic, so we use tag emphasizes used where EM is used. This is really neat. So this is really EM neat. So these are the parameters, these are the tags that will be used. We have to open the tags, we have to close the tags. Next concept arises is the attributes. Attributes are a part of the tag. So whatsoever the attribute we are going to give, whatsoever the data we are going to supply, that is available within the tag. Some tags accept the parameters, some tag does not accept. So they are placed inside the brackets only. For example, if I given P, that is a align left, align right, so which are placed inside the bracket and usually a parameter name. That is followed by an equal sign and then the value is enclosed by a double quotation mark. So this HTML is used for the hyperlink to another web document that uses the anchor tag A. The specification can be found at the AHREF w3c.org, that is the W3C website, and they use the hyperlink with an underscore. This anchor tag uses the parameter href to define the location and the type of the link. So whatsoever the pages, whatsoever the text they are giving out, they are usually the text file on the web server file system. And the language was personally intended to be easy to learn, so that the people interested in publishing content could easily specify what should be rendered, what should be given as a content, and the key points are easy to learn and easy for any display terminal. And because our system is potentially made up of many of the computers, so a device-independent way was needed to specify basic formatting commands, whatsoever the command that they give, whatsoever the data that they give, so they are used to specify that independent command. For example, specifying a phone by name would be a problem if the browser computer did not recognize the phone name or did not have ability to render that phone. If they are not in a position to render that, they are not in a position to make the recognize with the phone name or did not have ability to render that phone. This was not only the problem, but they are also interested in the content that they present. They are using the basic capability, formatting capability that they are expected for the scientific community. So the first generation of the computer that uses very much written manually without the aid of the WISIWIG. So they are used with the editor, they are used with the web, that becomes essential, and the simple language and its limitation did also become a problem. And the exact formatting of the pages is very important, because when we use the e-commerce companies on the site, so that public print advertisement, that printing is very much important to potentially consumers, customers and the client. That needs to be involved with the needs, enabling more precise formatting of the content by introducing new tags, new parameter to the languages. And what we don't intend to change, there was the document content and the presentation information that are coupled up. This information formatting or this HTML formatting web page is a mixture of the document content, text of the pictures that are displayed by a browser. That will be given as a bold, indent, font size, and so on. And whatsoever the formatting commands, whatsoever the data that are used, that are embedded with the content of the document. That is also possible to separate some of the following specific from the content with the style sheets, even with their use, even with the complete separation, that is not possible. And the complete term, that is defining the architecture, defining the more concrete examples of how the separation of the content from printing is an ongoing and important topic to the web application developers. So this is formatting is an ongoing and important role in the web application developer. This is the coding that shows there is a P, then EM that is used to make a bold. So this the new, the italic, strong, that is HTML 4.0 that is meant to use the bold. Specification includes additional support for the P. So this is given within a paragraph. So this P will be open with a paragraph and the P will be closed. Then UL for the annotated list, that means it is given in the bullets. LI style sheets, then LI internationalization, LI will be closed. LI accessibility, LI will be closed. Again next LI tables and the fonts, LI will be closed. The next LI scripting and the multimedia, LI will be closed. After that the UL will be closed. So one UL and the 5 LIs. 5 LIs means there are 5 dots, there are 5 bullets formed, 5 points that will be carried out within the UL. Now, this will be covered within the HTML, and there are 4 basic tags that must be used: HTML, head, body, and the title. This will be given, and this needs to be closed. It's mandatory to close that tags, that are the mandatory tags. The strong specification is also used, and the strong data is also used. Now, in case if we are using out the OL, that have a different concept. So they have a 1, 2, 3, 4 in the numbers. So one is a UL, one is a LI, that have a different specification, that have a different data, that have a different, we can see the criteria. It's mandatory to close the LI also. So one LI will be closed. LI will be closed. LI will be closed. And again next fourth and the fifth. There are 5 LIs over here. And look out the diagram, look out the output. This is the output that is given over here. Now let's move to the next part, that is how we can give the color, how we can give the specification to allow the web pages author to define a separate layout such as the color, font, margins, template that could not be used or that could be used by many other content documents also. This will help maintain a consistent look and feel across the web pages. That should be noted across or that some browsers, especially the older and the non-traditional browsers such as the PDA, personal digital assistant, and the mobile phone that do not support the use of the style sheets or the data that is used that will be given as a PDA, and the mobile phone that do not support the use of the style sheets also. that will be given from the W3C consent that will be given with the use of the style sheet that is continuing to define the HTML. So that in the future there will be an even further separation of the content in the presentation. So whatsoever the data, whatsoever the emergence, whatsoever the criteria that will be used, that will be given as extensible markup language. That will be discussed among the HTTP, that will be discussed among the HTML. That plays a key role in this separation. And one mechanism for separating the content of an HTML page from its presentation is a server-side include, that is the SSI. And then NCSA, that is the National Center for the Supercomputing Applications, has also defined a simple tag that can be used to include HTML fragment that needs to be shared across a number of the response pages. So there are multiple response pages, there are multiple HTML fragments that will be given over here, and typically these are the standard prologues that will be given. So the legal disclaimers or disclaimers that will be used, that will be given as a copyright notice, copyright issue. And by spreading the content over the shared pages, it is also used to manage a single point of the update. This will specify the name of a file in the web page for the website file system. So the hash include file banner.html. So this banner includes a special tag that allows the web pages to use multimedia information such as the images, sound, and the video in addition to the textual information. In addition to the tags, URL, but whatsoever we are given, that is used as an additional request in the connection to the server for each image or the multimedia that is mentioned in the original web page. So whatsoever the web page, whatsoever the architect and the designer we are using, that is used to mean, that is used to includes with the situation that are the missing file, that are the URL, that are the web images, applicants with lots of images and the multimedia type that may cause significant network performance penalties. And remember the choice of a connections protocol that benefits the robustness also not the performance. So whatsoever the data, whatsoever the performance that is used with the HTML and the tags are not presented over here, but the topic beyond the scope is also done. And there are countless other rules that will be given with the HTML because web pages are also available for the design model. So for example, a design model of a web application is not very interested in the font size or the color of the text, but it's very interesting in the sets of the web pages that can be navigated to. And this will be used these important elements of HTML also, that is used with the anchor tag also. Now the last part that is left over is the anchor tag. So whatever the hyperlink we are using up, whatever the web page we are using up, that is created using the HTML hyper anchor tag. And this tag uses multiple parameters, as one of the most important parameters is href. And this tag can be used without an href value also. So without href, we can also use with the anchor tag. In this case, the tag is being used as an internal bookmark, internal pages that will be given as a architect significant to the design model, but cannot be used in a significant in the user experience model. And whatever the href parameter that specifies a link document URL and may contain a relative URL which does not specify the full URL including the host name, but rather we can also expect the browser to see or use whatsoever the document that they carried out, whatsoever the data that they carried out. So they includes the host name, that includes the expected users or the browsers to specify which hyperlink will be used, which hyperlink to be supplied. For example, we are using the anchor tag that is perfectly acceptable. So we have a full line of ahref pro.html. So we are linking out with the HTML file that is a pro.html that protects that A will be closed. So when is the opening A and is the closing A. So choose the from. In this example, linking will be done on a page to the same machine and in the same directory as in the same page. So it is given as an anchor tag, which is used in the same directory, same folder, everything is same on the same profile, same page. In addition to the location and the name of the web pages, so anchor tag can also pass along the parameter with the page count with the page request. So the page count, page request data will be allowed will be carried out with the data that will be given on the web pages, that will be given to pass the parameters to pass the request with the page request. And when parameters are specified in a page request, it usually means that the requested page is also executable, and the requested web page is capable or is done of accessing the parameter information and using it to build the return page. So whatsoever the data, whatsoever the parameter we are using up, that will be separated from the separate part that will be used with the ampersand sign. Yes, they can. Just wait. This can also be accessed with the or with the question mark also, but the main concern, but the main tool that is used with the ampersand. And the following page also requests the or passes the two parameters. One is a product ID, one is a rate code. And this will be assigned with the value for 52. The rate code will be given as a value of the B. So there are two parts. One is the product ID, one is a rate code that will be given with the URL that starts with the HTTP. And the by default exchange rate is JSP. Yes. So when we say about the by default, that will be given as an anchor tag, that will be given as a criteria, that is a clue for enabling the technology used by the executable team, that is the JSP, Java Server Pages. And in addition to the AHREF, the other significant part that will be given is a target. And whenever a hyperlink is selected out, so it typically loads a new document in the same browser window as the original document, and this will not always be the case. And when frames are divided up or they are giving up in the browser display, so each frame display a separate web page, and they are also discussed with the frame with the browsers with the multiple users. That is also possible to the hyperlink to specifically a frame or a browser instance to load it. So whatsoever the data, whatsoever the frame, whatsoever the browser they are instances, they are giving up with the display, they are giving up with the more details. So they are multiple frame, they are multiple users. That will be possible for a hyperlink to specify a frame or the browser instance to load it, to get in, to